I simply invited Cathy over to Crystal's place to help tidy up. It was clear she had left in a hurry, clothes scattered on the bed and lingerie drawer open, with a bra hanging out. As we began putting things away, admiring her gowns, Heather and Joan unexpectedly entered. They questioned our presence and started searching the place themselves. I noticed Joan heading towards the liquor cabinet, while Heather began playing with your makeup. About 5 minutes later, Julia and Terry arrived, claiming they heard loud music as they were passing by. Joan had cranked up the stereo to full volume, which I forgot to mention. They made themselves comfortable, ordered takeout, and instructed to charge it to you. Terry suggested a party, and Joan, already a bit tipsy, agreed. Terry made some calls, and soon Paula and Anne-o joined us. I brought out snacks from the kitchen. Sorry, you'll need to restock some things when you return, I used up a few. Joan handed me a drink that I thought was just Coke, but things became blurry after that. I suspect she spiked it. I vaguely remember someone suggesting a slumber party, but I was already feeling drowsy. I recall the pizza delivery guy getting quite an unexpected sight. Later, amidst some shouts, I saw clothes flying and an unclothed guy running around with girls chasing him. By then, Joan had given me 2 more drinks, and I was blissfully oblivious, even when someone decided I needed a playful reprimand. Things got a bit chaotic, and I woke up next to Heather, who was jokingly tied up with a pair of new stockings. She jokingly blamed me, though I don't recall doing it. You've got to believe me, wink wink. That's my version of events. Hopefully, the mess on the bedroom walls is sorted out now. Oops, well, it wasn't me, maybe ask someone else. Joan and I had just come from church when I mentioned Crystal needed me to feed her fish, so we stopped by her Park Avenue townhome. Grabbing the key from above the door frame, I noticed the door was ajar. Joan suggested calling the police due to a possible break-in, but I hesitated, worried about Crystal's computers. Inside, we found 2 purses on the entryway table. I thought one belonged to Prue and ventured further, hearing giggling from the bedroom. Joan pushed the door open to find Cathy zipping up a royal blue mini dress that Prue had apparently just tried on. I blurted out they were caught red-handed, warning them that Crystal would be furious. They squealed and stuttered, Cathy claiming they were cleaning up after Crystal left in a rush, pointing to the scattered clothes on the floor. I almost scolded them again when Cathy distracted me, pointing to your makeup table, saying, "Look, Heather. Makeup." I was drawn to the array of high-end perfumes, foundations, eyeshadows, and lipsticks. Suddenly, a loud crash from the living room startled me. I peeked out and saw Paula, and Julia, and Terry, who had all dropped by unexpectedly. Joan handed me a decanter, and after a sniff, I realized it was vodka and orange juice. I took a small drink, only to find my nerves already frayed. As I scanned the room, I spotted Crystal's antique Ming vase shattered behind Paula. Nervously, I took another sip from the decanter, feeling a bit woozy. Joan had spiked the drink. The next thing I knew, someone was trying to feed me pizza, and a guy was attempting to remove my panties, causing chaos and screams until Anne intervened with her purse. Later, Paula spilled nail polish everywhere while trying to do everyone's nails in her intoxicated state. Threatened with exposure, I was tied up by Julia and Prue using pantyhose and forced to drink more from Joan's decanter, losing consciousness once again. I woke up in the morning, surrounded by intertwined arms and legs, bewildered by what had transpired. Sure, there was some drinking involved, but why does everyone point fingers at me when things get wild? Heather was really supportive when my ex dumped me on our anniversary. We had plans, but let's not go there anymore. I swiped a few bottles from my dad's liquor cabinet, nothing too strong. I think it was Everclear Light or something. Anyway, it wasn't enough to cause all the chaos they're blaming on me. Feeling down, I figured hitting the bar would lift my spirits. It did. Terry and Julia showed up shortly after. Terry seemed annoyed with me, but after a while of tending bar, I stopped caring. "Mom, you're so petite, but somehow everyone, and I mean everyone, was raiding your wardrobe. That blouse of yours? I really liked it, but the lipstick was already there, I swear." Some friendly frat guys dropped by later. They get a bad rap, but they're actually pretty friendly. Right, Terry and Heather? You didn't realize everyone could see you, did you? Anyway, I recorded everything, so don't try to blame it all on me. Heather, you're quite the party animal once you let loose. There was no panty raid, you were just generously offering your panties to any guy around. I was chatting with this nice frat guy, just talking, really. He was attentive, especially after his friend took over the bar. We ended up falling asleep together on the balcony. He must have left early for class because he was gone when I woke up. You should all thank me for spicing up the evening. Without my light alcohol addition, we might as well have been at a knitting circle or a convent. Glad I could handle it maturely. Oh, by the way, has anyone seen my black thong panties? I can't seem to find them anywhere. Crystal, disregard all the nonsense the others are telling you, here's what actually happened. I was heading out with Terry for some shopping when I heard noise from your apartment across the hall. Finding the door ajar and knowing you were away, I decided to investigate. To my surprise, your place was packed with people. Prue, Cathy, Heather, and Joan were there, with the stereo blaring. Prue was on the phone mumbling about helping tidy up, but both she and Cathy were wearing your clothes, and Heather was at your vanity, experimenting with your plum eyeshadow. Joan, a bit tipsy in your tan-belted mini, was busy making drinks for everyone. The room looked like a department store after a sale, so I pitched in to straighten things up. As soon as I arrived, Joan offered me a cola to sip while I helped, unknowingly adding something extra to the drink. We cleaned tirelessly, but the more we tidied, the more chaotic it seemed to get. Later on, and Paula showed up, and suddenly the place was overrun with people, many of whom I didn't recognize. The hallway outside resembled rush hour in the subway, with everyone holding a drink courtesy of Joan. She really turns on the charm when she's had a few. By the way, don't believe Heather's story about a panty raid, that never happened. She had ditched her panties long before the fraternity guys arrived to pay their respects. Between her and Cathy, the pizza guy didn't stand a chance. His boss shouldn't have fired him. And Cathy. Last I saw her, she was wearing a FedEx cap, and not much else besides her bra and panties, boasting about heading to Times Square to round up friends. I know she doesn't have a license, but I doubt she actually intended to steal that truck. Things got a bit out of hand, but calling the SWAT team wasn't necessary, though they were surprisingly understanding. They stayed to ensure everything stayed under control, citing standard SWAT procedures. They arrived just after Annie finished her second song, looking adorable atop the table in your black bustier. Her dance moves included an impressive high kick. I only realized the police were there when I heard "Oh, Officer Riley," and a playful giggle from another room. Terry insists she was just being polite, but I spotted a tall officer in military uniform escorting her toward the guest room. She seemed to be enjoying herself. After Sergeant Donovan escorted me back to my apartment, my memory gets a bit fuzzy, but he was a perfect gentleman throughout. Oh, and if you come across my yellow sheath dress, please let me know. It seems to have vanished. I can only speak for myself, but here's how I remember it. Someone, I think it was Cathy, mentioned Mom, Crystal, was leaving town on a Friday. Another suggestion came up to gather at her townhouse for a so-called slumber party. We're definitely too old for that, but hey, as Paula says, a girl just wants to have fun. I spent the day working for my client in Santa Monica, handling his vendor invoices due by the deadline. I needed to FedEx them so he could cut checks the next day. As it neared our meetup time at Mom's place, I called FedEx to arrange a pickup at her townhouse. Walking there, I bumped into Julia, and we chatted on the way. We arrived around 5:45 p.m., finding the door unlocked and all the lights on. Prue, Cathy, Heather, and Joan were already there, surprisingly including Joan. I had spoken to her the day before and she claimed plans with a boy, so seeing her there irked me. How could she lie like that? I'll deal with her later. About half an hour later, Paula and Anne-o joined us, and what appeared to outsiders as a party began to form. I behaved, sipping ginger ale in the living room, waiting near the front door for FedEx to pick up my package. They seemed late despite my clear instructions. Pizza was suggested, and I placed my order. The pizza arrived around 8:15 or 8:30. I heard the doorbell, glanced back, and saw it was the pizza. I didn't pay much attention to the delivery guy, but in hindsight, I now understand what they mean by Domino delivers. I'll explain that part shortly. The FedEx guy finally arrived just before 9 o'clock. I asked about the package's flight to California that night for Kevin to receive it in the morning. He assured me it would make the flight to LAX. He chatted a bit, which was pleasant, but I was pressed for time. I urged him to deliver the package and return for a chat. Despite not being the sharpest, he was cute. He promised to be back soon. After the FedEx guy left, I headed upstairs to use the powder room. Finished there, I couldn't resist checking Mom's bedroom to see her new outfits since my last visit. Oddly, the door was shut, and foolishly, I barged in without knocking. Inside, I found Cathy_T and the pizza delivery guy on the floor, clothes strewn about. The bed was a mess, indicating where it had started. I glimpsed something on Cathy_T that resembled something from the pizza. Ugh. I swore off pizza for life right then and there. I backed out quicker than I barged in. Once the shock wore off, I returned to the living room, waiting for the cute FedEx guy's return. He showed up around 10:15, still in his work uniform. The guy didn't think to drop off his truck at the warehouse or change first. Parked it right in front of Mom's house, double parked for all to see. If he hadn't been so cute, I would have kicked him out. We went back upstairs, skipping Mom's bedroom, straight to the guest room. Okay, we had some fun, but it wasn't the orgy Prue claims. And let me tell you, FedEx is fast in more than just deliveries. Kurt, that FedEx guy, set a record. I've never seen a guy come and go so fast, not even the junior high boy. I changed the sheets, remade the bed quietly. Around midnight, Heather filled me in on the panty raid while I was occupied. We checked the house for other mischief. Someone hit the liquor cabinet, my bet's on Lush Joan. The place was a bit messy, but nothing we couldn't handle later. Too tired, I crashed in the guest room. Someone joined me, but honestly, nothing happened that night. Next morning, we tackled the cleanup. Heard about makeup on Mom's clothes, definitely not my doing. I suspect Cathy_T. If Mom asks, I'll blame Joan for lying to me. Also, talk of stretched stockings with runs, I'm clueless. Oh, and yeah, I forgot about the used condom under the dresser in the guest room. Too late to retrieve it now that Mom's back. That's my version of what went down while Mom was away. Cleaned up my mess and pitched in with the house. Whatever else happened, no idea. If anything's amiss, blame Joan. Well, gosh. I didn't do anything wrong. See, I was out shopping and found this adorable peach silk blouse with a V-neck and wrist-length sleeves. Needed something to match, so I got a turquoise ankle-length skirt and a bolero jacket. That's when I bumped into Paula. She said she was headed to Mom's place to feed her fish, didn't know she had piranhas, so I tagged along. When we got there, it was like stumbling into a nudist colony. Julia, Cathy, and Prue were having a party. Someone handed me a drink, Coke? Joan, you naughty girl, was that you? And I had a few more. Oh, that vase? Definitely Sean, not Ming. I remember seeing someone trying to undress Heather, and with Paula's help, I went after them. Frat boys can be so rough. Their idea of foreplay is saying, you know you want me, baby. By then, I couldn't feel a thing. I did try some of your extensive makeup collection. Borrowed a bit, I mean, a girl has to look good when she sings, right? Started with Divorce, and I think I started on Girls Just Wanna Have Fun, before a FedEx driver interrupted me about a missing truck. What would I know? I was singing the whole time. Booze makes me do that. The SWAT, Southwest Arizona Transvestites, team never showed up, Mom, and I was a good girl. Found some nice black panties, though I prefer briefs. Oh, and what happened to my pantyhose? Someone took them off, I think to subdue a raving teetotaler. Julia, was that you or the cute muscle guy with you, on you a lot, by the way? Woke up to a mess. Nice perfume, Heather, Shalimar, Chanel, or Charlie? No, she wasn't the mess. While the rest were out cold or staggering, I cleaned up as much as I could, got rid of a dozen of those little round thingies. Made breakfast, scrambled eggs, bacon, sausage, found links in the fridge. I prefer patties, home fries, English muffins, and coffee. Piranha's got sausage. You need to shop, your pantry's empty. That's my story, I'm innocent. They caused all the trouble. Smoke stains can be removed, firefighters said it wasn't too bad. The police were very nice, if you catch my drift, wink, wink. Court appearance? I know a good Philadelphia lawyer, pricey but worth it. FedEx dropped those kidnapping charges for now. Cleaning bills due later this month, got most pizza stains out. Your new bed arrives next week, the old one wore out from use, not just sleeping. Oh, those turquoise pumps? They look great with my skirt. You'll let me keep them, right? I was a good girl, Mom.